Welcome, the most hated man in video game journalism. Welcome.
What can I say? I have a
The terrorist himself,
Holy shit.
according to Alyssa Mercani.
So,
How's everyone doing?
yeah, good. Glad that you're here. I definitely want to talk about this. So, Chad, in case you don't know, Alyssa Mercante, a topic on this stream every once in a while, is suing Smash JT. And I read like the first 15 pages of this lawsuit, and it really does come across as something you should wipe your ass with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even a lawyer. I'm like, this is dog shit. Luckily, we have a lawyer here with us too.
I was gonna say I saw potentially criminal streaming while I was in SNH, and I was like, damn it, I wanted to listen to it, but I can only be so many places at once, you know.
Yeah, I did it earlier tonight. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. It's funny when they contradict themselves internally within their own documents,
and sometimes on the same page, actually.
Yeah. Yes, and you know, it's always a good lawsuit when the attorney starts crying about how he gets treated as one of the parts of the story and how the lawsuit gets filed. He cried about himself twice and how you were so mean to the big bad lawyer.
I didn't even notice that. That's funny. I kind of glazed over that. I think the interesting thing about what's happening with it is, and I said this on SNH tonight with Legal Mindset, I don't think it's necessarily a suit against me. I mean, that's sure a side effect, a benefit, and sure she'll take the money if it ever went her way, which it won't, but that's probably how she sold herself into doing it. But what's happening right now, it's more of a activism. They have activist lawyers, and they're trying to, from what Legal Mindset said, and it kind of reaffirmed what I was thinking, it looks like they're trying to get a law passed, like created in New York.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's really the
really?
basis of this.
Yeah.
That's the real, that's what.
Wait, what kind of law?
So, one of the last cause of action they cite in there, because they cite like defamation, infliction of emotional distress, interference of business relationships. Those are already torts you can file against people. They introduced a fifth one, and they called it the tort of stochastic terrorism, meaning they want to make stochastic terrorism something you can file as you could sue someone for. It's not recognized in law right now because it just doesn't exist. So they're trying to make new case law for themselves, saying they wanted to say this type of conduct is bad, and because it's bad, we can use this as a weapon to go after people down the road. So it's not even that they want to win at this level. They might be looking to win at an appellate level because that's where you make case law ultimately. But they're trying to argue all the stuff that JT did was stochastic terrorism, which is another one of their buzzwords they created many moons ago. And that's what they're trying to go after. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and I'm
Right?
basically a pawn in this game of chess that they're doing, and that's the way I'm looking at it too. Where they're like, oh, it's this little peon nobody guy. We can create a case here, and side benefit too. We talked about this on SNH as well, where they're trying to in the first page, they're trying to.
Can we pull that up? By the way, does anybody have Can you send me that document?
Sure. I got it right here.
I thought I had it because I know I looked through it, but I can't find it.
I'll send it in the private.
It's very interesting too. They talk about Destiny. Like some of the things you said aren't things you've actually said, but it's stuff that Destiny has said.
Right, and that was actually
saying, and I'm like, Destiny's, but yeah, he's a fellow traveler in the, communism. Remember, chat, communists are not people, but they're not going after the guy who has all the money too. It's interesting.
Well, for obvious reasons, because they know they want, like I said, the small peon. But the other thing that was interesting is how they start this off with the preliminary statement, talking about bringing up on the first page. They bring up Sweet Baby Inc. and Gamergate and reference Wikipedia, which is comical in its own right. But by bringing up Gamergate and trying to paint me as a gamer gator, they're creating a narrative. They're creating a story that doesn't exist so that they can push an agenda with a narrative in the future to reference this, to paint her as a victim of harassment and a harassment campaign from YouTubers. That's another reason for this.
Is that why she put out the hilarious pity video a couple of days
100%,
ago?
100%. Yeah. And she tried to act like that was over the past 8 months or 7 months. That was also if we go back that far, that's when she was on the giant bomb couch saying, if you want to fight me physically,
come fight me, bitch.
Come fight me.
So the timeline doesn't adjust. It doesn't line up with her sadness, and her color of hair is all the same in all the videos. And if you go over, she has very different colors of hair over the past 8 months.
No, she shot that shit last week.
Exactly. She wanted to make it look like it was something that's compiled over a long period of time to make it look like, oh, look at how much I've struggled internally. In my humble opinion, I feel like this is somebody that is suffering from severe mental problems. And I hope she's able to get them addressed. But that's, again, my humble opinion of her.
Yeah, but that, and she's also broke. So she's probably trying to get the money.
Well,
I want to give Raging Rhino an out. He said he's got to take over.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks, dude. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I got to go have family shit. Merry Christmas to everyone if I don't see you before Christmas. And yeah, awesome. Keep enjoying the stream. I'm kind of shattered that I didn't get to stay for the documentary of the 100 dudes chick, because that's just filth. And I really want to tell this bitch how much of a disgusting bitch she makes me feel fucking sick. Anyway, all right. See ya. Keep talking about this shit. Bye, guys.
See you, brother.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And right, you said something. She's not actually broke. She got paid out on her contract, and they admit to that.
Good
her
point.
contract, they fully paid her out on, and then they just told her to hit the brick. So she actually got a bunch of cash without having to fulfill all of her obligations.
Okay, but a bunch of cash for Texas or a bunch of cash for someone who lives in New York City?
I don't really know, but
I don't think
these guys.
One of them means she might still be broke.
Well, no, I mean, if you get paid out, you're good. You got a runway at least. I think that's what criminals saying. So I agree. I didn't really think of it like that. But I would also argue, just based off of circumstantial evidence that we have to go by here, if I put my lawyer hat on, it seems highly likely that the lawyers that she has that took on her case are doing it pro bono, in my humble opinion. That's what would make the most sense, because doing
I think they are. I don't think they're charging her.
They are activist lawyers, and this is an activist law that they're trying to get put into place for perhaps something much bigger that they have at play that we don't know about.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're not charging her. I think they're doing it pro bono, 100%. Because isn't one of them a lawyer that was like, I'm going to get these anti-woke gamers or some shit?
Oh yeah, that's interesting story on that guy. Dan something. Well, actually, I can tell you in a second.
Yeah, Dan McGowan. He used to work at Bungie.
Yep, Dan McGowan. So,
that guy?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
Then there's
this is the guy that wanted to get rid of gamers, right?
Yes, and I actually had an hour and a half long phone call yesterday with Marty O'Donnell, the composer for Halo. Me and him talked.
Nice.
Really good guy.
Marty's based.
Dude, I can't say enough good things about that guy. He's amazing. He said he wants to come on a stream with me at some point to talk about it, but he had a lawsuit, and the lawyer that he was up against, that Bungie was, I think it was Bungie at the time, coming at him, Don McGowan was representing them. And he's like, when you think about just the mentality you have when you think about what a lawyer is, and just think about how scummy they are and just how just awful some lawyers are, he's like, just like times it by 10 and you might be getting close to what Don McGowan is. He's like the worst. He's the worst. When you think of the prototypical worst lawyer in the world, it's like him. He is the definition of it. So that's what we're going up against, is that.
Like in incompetence or greed or all of it?
All of it. just
based on, and I was gonna say, and Demian, based on reading this was not impressive to me.
This document is ridiculous. I'm reading through it right now.
It's a joke.
Here's a breakdown of brief history of Gamergate.
Yes, 30 pages. And then I do love out of nowhere they have to start talking about the Trans Alliance, and they're like, look, it's actually good on the Charity Navigator, even though apparently some of its directors got in trouble for embezzling money. But it's totally legit, or like they're going out of the way to argue about facts that don't
they're
matter.
saying I reported on it. I'm like, that's the story I reported on.
Yes.
Like they're trying to glaze over it, like what an awful person. He's trying to paint this company that's actually awful in a bad light because they're awful, and they're not, because they're not. But they did have this awful thing that happened, but they're really not. Like, well, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So,
And they also doxed you too. I
think it's page 7. So I don't
I'm
know.
not going to show that one on stream, but
that was
they didn't give her address though,
right,
because that could be different. That she might get harassed from that.
That was one of the biggest things that really frustrated me with all this. It's like, it's all is fair in love and war, all that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, you want to sue me, whatever, okay, I'll play your game, you rogue, but you start doing stuff like that, and it really crosses a line. Like it goes beyond me when you do that. I have a wife, I have kids, I have a family. Like I now am very concerned for the safety of all of us right now. I've already had multiple threats from multiple angles, emails, messages, DMs, people on comments on YouTube just outright saying it, that they plan on visiting me. Like this is happening right now. And this is the outcome that she fully, I would expect any logical person that's given her some credit, but would logically expect this to be the outcome of what she did. And that is putting me in harm's way. And it's just like, I asked Ron Coleman, my lawyer, about that, and he's like, yeah, I don't know if there's really anything we can do right now about that. He's like, really, what it is, it's just a really shitty thing to do. It's just
they're trying to scare you.
Yeah, they're trying to scare me. They're trying to, yeah, exactly, 100% trying to scare me into submission.
Wait, but isn't doxing against the law?
No,
not if it's in a
not
legal
this,
document.
not like this.
Oh,
No.
that's a nice loophole there.
And even then, in general, like if I had your info, I could put it out there. That's not necessarily against the law in and of itself either. I mean, that's like saying the phone book's kind of illegal too.
If you do it with malicious intent.
Yeah, if I'm doing it to get people fired up
with malicious intent.
Yeah.
By the way, real quick, let's get some mods sharing Smash JT's legal defense fund. I definitely want to promote that. I think it's important because we can't let these assholes go after people like this in a frivolous lawsuit. It's bullshit. And I mean, I'm glad that it's reached its record, but he's going to need more money.
Yeah,
because this will probably get tied up, I'm guessing, in jurisdiction for a minute.
I'm fully expecting that if it doesn't get dismissed outright right away. And that's something we'll find out.
Yeah, what about slap laws and stuff?
Yeah,
that's
what we're going to pursue initially. But here's why it's important to promote the link right now and talking to Ron about it. He's like, most likely this is going to be dismissed, or the slap law will apply if it doesn't get dismissed. But if it doesn't, this is going to be a shit show. No, don't quote him on that. This is me translating what our conversation was. But
what's a slap law? I don't know.
Oh, can you post that in the private chat, and then I'll post it.
Sure.
There we go. Hail the Lord, got it. Give send go. Can you copy that and
thank you, Hail
the Lord. Post it over and over again?
But what Ron was saying is like, this is the time to actually like strike while the iron's hot. Everyone's talking about it. He's like, if this dies down and you need more money, you're
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I hope that doesn't happen. I don't foresee that happening, but I also don't prognosticate and know the future. So it's like anything I can and will do to win this fight, I will. And if it does get dismissed, I do want to talk to Ron about potential options about what to do next. This is not a one and done. Okay, we dismiss this and it's good. It's okay, we need to set an example. If people are going to do this to me, we're going to figure out what we do back to them. So yeah.
And discovery for Alyssa is going to be really rough if she gets that far. Like, I don't think she wants that because you're going to get to learn a lot of things about her.
I don't want to learn anything.
No, I know that, but she's going to have to. Nobody, but we're all going to learn about it though.
And hey, somebody asked what slap laws are. Those are it's essentially free speech laws. It's people trying to go in and silence or intimidate critics. When you're talking about matters of public interest.
Yeah, so it's called a strategic lawsuit against public participation, and basically,
she's
JT
a public
can challenge and say, "I have First Amendment right. I haven't broken any laws here. I haven't done anything wrong," and then it becomes Alyssa's job to explain why what he's actually done is an actionable tort, why this isn't protected under the First Amendment, and it puts the burden on her. So it immediately puts her on the back foot, have to defend it, and if she doesn't win, if she loses right then. The suit's over, and at that point JT can get attorney's fees and can go after her. So slap lawsuits and anti-slap laws are meant to protect parties and allow you to try to resolve a case right off the bat instead of getting through discovery, going 6, 7, 8, 9 months, wasting a ton of money, and then trying to dismiss it. So it's kind of like a short circuiting.
By the way, let's give a big shout out to Kim Belair donating
Oh shit!
Nice.
To the defense fund. Thank you, sweet baby Abe coming through.
That is funny as hell. Holy shit! That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm making a point to try to read every single one of these, and it's been like, not to be cheesy, but it's been incredible, the community support for this. Like, the donations are coming in like almost every like 7 minutes right now. It's crazy. People have been incredible. I did at the end of SNH, I did the breakdown. There's a as of right now, well, I didn't refresh it, but well, actually, let me refresh it right now. 844 donors so far, giving an average of $60 per person. So there's like some really big donations that kind of threw the average off, but still thinking about that, that's crazy.
I'd like to see this hit 100K.
That would be insane. That would be insane. And like I said, she doesn't know who she with here. I told her this before too. I'm like, being fully transparent. That's how I always am. I don't just like take things lying down. You're gonna do something like this, and you're gonna put my family in danger and threaten us like this. There's anyone in the chat right now who is a father, or if there are moms out there, when people start doing this kind of stuff to you, it brings it to a level that is far.
I think it's up to go this far over conversations about video games. At
Right.
the end of the day,
Right?
This is so stupid. Like, nobody should be with anybody's family or personal life. You know, we can make fun of each other. I think that's fine, but you know, they're taking it way too far, and it was a nasty thing to put your address in there. And I guess what was this part about going after his wife in here?
Yeah, there's a part in here where they say, we know it's not true, but here's the allegation that they made about JT and his wife, but we're just showing it, even though we know it's not true. And for some reason, and obviously they threw it in there to embarrass him and to make this shit more public. So that was, we don't need to go to that part, but it's really pathetic what they did there.
I mean, the whole thing's pathetic.
Well, it is, but that's even worse. Yeah.
Oh, I saw Kyle Barrow at the chat there. There were significant amounts of tweets being deleted, not just by Conte, but
I saw that on the Hypnotic stream I was watching earlier when I was prepping for this stream.
It was wild.
There's that Ash Parrish is deleting a bunch of tweets. Alyssa
Kim Belair.
Funny. That's around with evidence.
Yeah,
right.
Wait, Alyssa herself is deleting. That's not good.
A lot.
That's not a good look for Alyssa.
No, that's really bad.
You got some of those tweets though.
I have everything, and if
it's all been
there are threads online with everything.
Good, man. You got to have those receipts, man.
Oh yeah.
With the internet autists, they will archive everything.
And one thing I've learned in this situation is the community has really come together, not just financially, but like information wise, supporting me. Like, I have so many people I've never even heard of or talked to that are DMing me like, hey, just a heads up, this person just said this about this person. Here's a tweet they said, just so I know.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's like, it's really good because I don't have eyes everywhere. So now I feel like I kind of do. And everyone's like, how can I help? What can I do? Because this is up what's happening right now. So yeah, it's great.
I just thought the pity video was hilarious, man.
Oh, is that the one with her dancing?
Well, her crying about, how hard it's been for her.
Totally make up her mind. She's got one dancing. She's excited. She filed the lawsuit. Then the next one, she's crying about the emotion.
Oh, the one where she's crying and putting on the performance of, I'm just trying to live a normal life, and this man is harassing me. And
did she just want to be able to talk shit and nobody would clap back? Or like,
yes.
Because I mean, she was like literally asking for attention. She's like, come fight me, bitch. And then people said, okay, I'll fight you. And she cried.
Well, Flash, you have to understand, man, these people have thought they have won. For 4 years, they have been winning, right? And they thought they were going to win again, and they didn't win. The culture's changing on them. So this is like their last strike. This is their last bit of lashing out before everything changes for them. But yes, she's really this up because she thought that she was on the winning team, right? To realize that she's not. There is no winning team anymore, anyway.
Yeah, and she's just coming out, and I don't.
I just want to say I'm really proud of this community.
Yeah.
Right.
We're totally destroying them. This is great.
It is awesome. By the way, what's up, Endymion? How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Oh, I'm tired getting attacked by the whole internet. You know how that is.
I know. Tell me about it.
Made a video today. It's coming out tomorrow, obviously. And I'm just sitting here playing Fantasian while I talk to you guys, pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah.
How is it?
That's about it. I'm in the final level, but I'm not gonna beat the game yet.
Oh.
So
Is it good?
Is your PlayStation
it's a
Portal
solid 6.5 out of 10.
I have some problems.
There's a lot of problems with it that I don't like, but I'm gonna beat it because I'm already this far. So
yeah, let's refresh the page. Oh, we went up $1,000. Oh,
God damn.
That's good job.
The other thing that's kind of dangerous about this, though, is okay, she'll sue, she'll lose. I get that. But she's not going to be the last one. I think all this is going to do is encourage other cowards to come out of the woodwork and start suing YouTubers. And even though she may lose this one,
maybe, but remember, Verbal Riot, it's very expensive to do this. So I think her case is very unique, where it just kind of threads that needle of she found activist lawyers that potentially did it.
Oh, Anita Sarkeesian donated $25.
Wow.
Thank you, Smash. You helped me discover my sexuality from mullets and men like you. You are truly a man of culture and many chest hairs. I wish to see you succeed after this defamation. We love you. I didn't know Anita was based.
Well,
from mallets. I'm sorry. I thought it was in mullets.
You're right that other people might take stabs at this in the future, but like you said, there's a little bit of lag time, so they still think they had the wind at their back, and it's going to catch up. Money and resources do dry up, and attorneys can only do so much pro bono work before, they're out on the street. So, if she fails here, this will set things back quite a bit. I mean, it won't prevent it in the future completely, but this will make an example of her.
Well, yeah, but you have to remember too. I'm talking about and not that you don't have a huge channel, Smash, but there's YouTubers who have big channels.
Like Destiny and Hassan. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like,
you get what I'm trying to say here, right? And a lawyer could look at that and be like, oh, these guys must make, 7 figures a year. Why don't we go after them too?
Well, based off of what they estimated what I make, they probably think they make 7 figures every month.
or something, you know what I mean? It's like I just don't put it past a lawyer to say, hey, this could be an easy mark.
Right.
Hey,
right.
Lawyers do have boat payments. I will say that.
Yeah. But like I said, I will be talking to Marty O'Donnell at some point in depth about this Don whatever McGowan lawyer on my channel at some point. But yeah, he was very freely speaking to me and didn't really hold anything back. I'm like, man, that guy, it's like the prototypical TV lawyer that's just the biggest scumbag lawyer in the world type conversation. I was impressed. As far as the slap lawsuit, or the slap, that's the motion that obviously Ron is going to be pushing for if this does not get dismissed outright. He feels confident that will happen, but he couldn't promise it will. And if it does not, then it's going to start to get potentially very expensive. So that's why like I said earlier, he's like, strike while the iron's hot right now. If people are interested in helping you, you might need that. So just go with it right now. What's that?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, yeah, guys, chat depositions, things like that. The cost skyrockets very, very, very fast.
Yep.
So
and that's the whole point, to intimidate. Yeah, that's what this entire thing is all about, intimidation.
And I don't think she expected this kind of coming together from the community right now. I wouldn't have. I genuinely did. Like, I was like, I had a few people that were like, "Hey, I'd donate to you if you do something." Yeah, she's a public figure.
Yeah, she is.
Oh yeah,
I mean, she's literally on Giant Bomb and all these other channels. She's
not only that, she has
Kotaku senior editor.
She has her own Twitch channel. Like what?
Yeah.
What? Even if she's not at Kotaku anymore, she's still publicly facing. She's still out there. She still has Twitter, putting it out there every day. Like, if we're gonna start going into what defines a public figure or not from this, they're gonna have a very
she's
bad...
at least in the minimum. What's the step below it? A limited public figure.
limited purpose.
She's at least a limited public figure at the minimum. All of us on this panel are at least limited public figures in some capacity.
I'm not a public figure. This is AI.
You know who's
300,000 YouTube channel. You're not a public figure.
You know who's not a public figure is my wife, the person that she.
That's true. Yeah, your wife is. Huh? She didn't want it, and she's been pulling this nasty shit with your family for a while because she was trying to. She thought she could DM your wife.
She was almost. You could say she was fishing to try to get me for a long time. Like it almost feels like that from a certain perspective.
Yeah, I think she wasn't she a cam girl?
Yep.
She says she wasn't she?
Wasn't she a failed one?
Apparently she had an OF from what I heard. So
I don't recall.
Ew.
No, I don't know if she did or not. Hail the lore. I know that when she talks about in that lawsuit about people calling her a prostitute, she was the one that said she sucked dicks to get to the top. That was her. She's the one that said it.
And here's the other thing, like it would be a hard enough case to prove with what she's doing if she was like a goody two shoes on the internet and what I've done and what I've said, because I really haven't done or said anything egregious. So even if you go by her being a goody two shoes, there's not much of a case here. But the shit she's said and done to me, it's like this is not even a case here. What are we doing? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's gonna. I would hope get tossed out because I'm not even a lawyer and I read through half of this and was like, this is trash.
Well, maybe potentially criminal would know this. If a judge reads through this, what do you call this?
Complaint,
lawsuit, threat? I don't even know. Would any normal thinking judge be like, yeah, that's nothing, or would they consider this?
Well, I mean, ultimately, it's, Ron is probably going to try to challenge us on summary judgment. And the summary judgment standard is in the light most favorable to the non-moving party. So the plaintiff, you presume all the facts are true. And if all the facts and allegations are true, would, Alyssa Mercani be entitled to some sort of recovery? Like, have you wronged her in a way the law recognizes?
Wait, let me interrupt you real quick. So they have to presume everything they say is true?
In a motion for summary judgment, yes, because that's why the motion for summary judgment, one of the most common claims is you do a motion, you're arguing that she states a claim for which relief can't be granted. Where your attorney's going to say, like, look, she's saying a lot of stuff, but none of this is an actual tort. This is not a lawsuit. This is not something the court can fix for you. Kick rocks. Now, he's probably going to challenge other things. But when it comes to summary judgment, yes, you have to presume one side is correct and then apply, do they actually have, is this something the court can grant her relief on? And all this is just garbage. There is no tort that has been committed, and therefore there's no relief that she can seek. So that's the standard. That's how that works. Because if everybody's arguing that there's facts in contention, the judge is going to let that move along down the road, and the parties will do discovery, and then once we find out the answers to some of these allegations and facts, then he might address it again. But that's the basic. When you get to the summary judgment phase right off the bat, the judge doesn't, otherwise he doesn't know how to. Does that make sense in that way?
It does. I just think it's funny because you present this to a judge, like a judge would know what the Gamergate is. Well, and they say in the first line, like 2014's infamous Gamergate.
You weren't even in part of Gamergate 1.
That's part of the problem. This one is, there's some inside baseball that you don't know. And they spend a lot of time trying to talk about things that the judge may not understand, because a lot of these judges are normies, and it's going to be some, I don't know what judge is even going in front of, but it's going to probably be at least some Gen X or a boomer. And they're going to have no idea what the hell's going on. So they kind of have explained things a little bit, but not a ton.
And referencing Wikipedia, if you were a judge, would you question that?
Not necessarily, because depending on what it is.
Okay.
Because otherwise you're going to have to explain to somebody, how do they go learn about Gamergate? I might actually, depending on the type of thing, you go there, okay, and here's some references, but that's not necessarily that's not the most problematic thing they have. The issues of them trying to argue brand new novel theories of law, that's going to be a very big mountain for them to climb, among other things they have to do. But the judge is going to look at this and say, okay, yeah, that seems a little weird, but that's how lawsuits are sometimes. So then you guys will have your, first conferences, and the judge, he might tell them and tip his hand saying, this sounds like a lot of bullshit, but I don't know we won't know till we find out what judge you have and what they think about it. So.
Well, I mean, the first thing.
Sorry to say it like that.
Oh, no. That's kind of how Ron said it to me too. First thing we're gonna do is file for a dismissal. But it's just interesting to me when you put it that way, because if they have to assume everything's factual here, then why would they ever dismiss any lawsuit? Because they're assuming it's all factual.
Well, because whatever it is that's factual isn't an actual tort. So if everything you've said and done, presuming it's true, does it arise to the level of intentional infliction of emotional distress? No. Okay, case dismissed. So that's why they can make all the allegations in the world, but it might not amount to satisfying the elements of the tort. So that's why.
If you get a case dismissed, and I probably should have asked this to Ron because I didn't clarify it, that's not the slap lawsuit. That's just dismissal.
Well,
so fees are gone, and I'm out of luck.
You at that point you could still ask for attorney's fees at that point as well. Okay. You're not prohibited. But generally speaking, if you just lose on a normal summary judgment issue, the courts don't all usually grant attorney's fees, because they'll say, look, they filed it, they had some colorable claim here. It wasn't completely frivolous. Now the slap is a whole separate part of that, and the slap would give you attorney's fees.
So if they dismiss it and they're like, no, this is kind of frivolous, but it's okay, can we then go, okay, we're going to slap then?
Well, no, because if I don't know how it is in under New York law, but I'm assuming it's going to kind of be all at once. He's going to challenge it. Summary judgment wise, there's just no claim for relief that you can get here, number one. And then on the other hand, option 2 is an anti-slap statute. I mean, also, I don't know if Ron's brought this up to you, but I kind of wonder if you even have minimal contacts necessary for the state of New York, because what they pled does not necessarily establish minimal contacts, in my opinion. And he'll know what that is.
Can you explain minimal contact?
Yeah. So the idea is, for example, let's say Alyssa lived in the state of Washington and you've never done anything in Washington. And let's say this isn't a lawsuit involving the internet. So she tried to sue you for intentional infliction of emotional distress because, you did something to her down in California, where you live. Okay, cool. She could sue you down there, but to hail you into a court in Washington, well, I've never been there. I've never done anything in Washington. That's not fair to me. Now, if you have done things like availed yourself to Washington's laws, like if you've done business in the state, you have a summer home there, you frequently travel there, you have family there, that you need to have some minimal contact with that area. Or if you had actually done her wrong in the state of Washington, that would be also enough for you to have to be forced to show up in Washington.
Got it.
I mean, the idea, though, I'm on the internet, so therefore a global jurisdiction, that just doesn't make... I think that's a very poor argument. They haven't articulated anything other than you could get on YouTube in New York City, and that's their argument for why they could sue you in Brooklyn, which I think is nonsensical.
Right. But they're going to probably try to fight that, though.
Oh, certainly they would try. They would fight that. They would fight that.
But that's like a landmark decision if they accepted that, because that would go universal for the entire internet if they're like, yeah.
Well, you're just like the cases they tried to cite for stochastic terrorism. They cite some court out in Seattle, but it's like a trial court, so it really doesn't mean anything. There have been no appellate courts or the Supreme Court of Washington saying stochastic terrorism is a valid complaint. So one district court judge at the trial level doing something doesn't set a trend. But there are times where people have done stuff on the internet and it has established minimal contact. So you could argue minimal contacts could be established sometimes. Just in your situation, I don't see, you haven't directed it specifically to that forum. You haven't done X, Y. You haven't done a lot of things that make it apply to her in this, I would argue.
So you're taking a big step back from even this document. And you're just saying, well, first off, do you even have minimal contact? Because otherwise none of this even matters.
Well, yeah, I think there's a couple different ways to go after it. And Ron's Ron's a hell of an attorney. He's a better attorney than I'll ever be. I'm sure he's already got a million different ways he's going to light this on fire. But yeah, that's just one of them right off the bat. When you read through it, there are issues with, they don't really state a claim upon which relief can be granted. They have nonsensical claims in here. they, I don't think they have jurisdiction over you, and that's something Ron will take care of for you.
Could she try to sue me in California?
She could, yeah, because you made all that stuff while you're in California. So yes,
but then she'd have to have her lawyers that practice in New York file. Are they able to file in California?
They can, but California has an anti-SLAPP statute that's actually
they do.
robust.
Yeah, they're fairly the same.
There's a reason why they didn't go there.
Yeah, they have one of the strongest in the country.
Yeah, there's a reason. There's a reason why they picked New York. New York does still have an anti-SLAPP, but that's kind of what they're limited to. But yeah, they could go to California if they wanted to, but yeah, it won't go well for them.
Which is funny because usually people think California very left-leaning, where it would go well for them. Yeah. But you're right.
But in California, though, they deal with so they have celebrities, and they don't people with power stepping on little people, and that's kind of where some of that stuff comes from.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. There's a lot to take in.